plenty of time. Like, you can't have both problems. And so if you're broke, get busy and do some of the unscalable stuff. And that means hopping on the calls with customers that are below your ticket price. But guess what that happens is that you're learning more from them than you are earning from them. And that's okay, because you're going to learn the pain points they're suffering from. You're going to learn the hooks in the messaging that matter most to them. You're going to learn how to alter your product and your offer in a way that makes it convert at a higher percentage. You're going to learn the things they don't care. By the way, you want 2 magic questions? Here's some pro tips for you. The first thing you ask a customer is you say, hey, if I were to eliminate all of the things that I have in my feature set except for one, what would it be? And they'll tell you. And if you ask 100 people, you'll get by far a power ranking for what matters most in terms of value for the core deliverables you have. Now you can also ask the second, the inverted version of that question, which is, hey, if I were to eliminate one thing from my entire feature set and it changed nothing about your life, which one would it be? And you'll also get the least valuable thing. And between both of those elements, and if you do this on a regular basis, you continue to cut and trim and distill down the value they provide to the most amount of people by simply asking them. And so I think Paul Graham said this, and I believe this, and I keep repeating it because I think it's so important, is that you can solve every question and every problem in business by talking to your customer more. You have a marketing problem, talk to your customer. You have a product problem, talk to your customer. Like, they know what they want, and they will tell you how to address them and how to advertise to them. And so getting on the phone and doing the quote unscalable, writing the handwritten card, onboarding every customer, even though it's $10 a month that they're paying. Guess what happens when you onboard those customers? I'll bet you they're going to stay longer. I'll bet you they'll refer more people, and you're going to be able to make the product better and the marketing better. And so even if you do that, now let's say, okay, Alex, oh my God, I followed your advice and now I'm taking 20 calls a day. Well, guess what? Now you're making money and I don't give a shit. But if you're still like, hey, I want to make more money, fine, I'll give you the next step. So when you go from one-on-one, you go to semi-private. You do 1-on-6, right? You can still deliver close to that experience, but you 6x your output. So instead of talking to 20 people a day, you talk to 120 people a day. Now, if you're like, wow, 20 people a day, that sounds like a lot. Guess how Alex learned sales? I did 4,000 1-on-1 closes, not consults, closes over a multi-year period for my gyms. Why? Because I had appointments back to back to back to back to back, and I had 2 to 3 people that were scheduled for every 30 minutes. And so that accounted for show rate, so that no matter what, I always had 1 to 3 people who were showing up every 30 minutes that I pitched the exact same thing to. And guess what happened? I got pretty good at sales. The amount of people who asked me, hey, what sales training did you go to? I didn't. I went through the unscalable sales training of actually just selling a lot of people. And so the idea is that you are going to learn more than you are going to earn in the beginning. And that is okay, because as long as you see entrepreneurship as a continual journey of educating yourself on your customer, the problems that you're trying to solve for them, why would you not want to fast track that and jam as much of that as you possibly could from the best possible teacher that is in the marketplace, which is the market itself? And so I get passionate about this because I see so many poor people trying to think that they're thinking like rich people when they're really thinking like poor people, because they're trying to be broke and not busy. So get busy. Talk to the customers. Even if they pay you $10 a month, you'll learn more. And then guess what happens after you do 1-on-6? You do group onboarding. You do 1-on-20, you do 1-on-30, and guess what you can do from there? We have a company right now that did group onboarding and scaled to 100 million plus a year, all right? And we still did it because we knew the onboarding was such an important part of the process for setting expectations, telling what was gonna happen next, setting promises and keeping promises over and over and over again. And so if you have 1-on-30, fine. Guess what? You can still do 6 of those to 180 people a day with just one person. And if you train somebody, and what happens, like, let's really think through this. In the beginning, you do the 1-on-ones, okay? Now, in the beginning, you're just answering questions. Over time, you say, okay, most people have these same 6 questions. And so then I'm gonna create a little presentation around these 6 questions. And so then you start using the presentation in the 1-on-ones, and you're like, you know what? I think I can do this a little bit faster. And so you get the 1-on-6 there, and you have the presentation. And you're still seeing the same output with the 1-on-6 as you were with the 1-on-1. Fantastic. Now what do? You see, can I get to 30? And you do 30, and then you 5x again, your 6x output. And again, now you're like, I wonder if I can teach somebody else to go through the same deck as me. And you know what? You do. And just like that, you scaled the fucking unscalable. Real quick, if you're tired of being broke and would rather be busy,